acid indigestion, or heartburn with headache, nothing makes you feel better faster than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
Tonight.
Oh my God.
It's the Mammoth season finale with a madman on the loose.
Ed, we're on a manhunt here.
I gotta get back to the store, Maurice.
Northern Exposure tonight.
Join us again for The Young and the Restless.
This is CBS.
Up next on your news at noon, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis is remembered as a blessing to the nation.
And guess what musicians are trying to buy the Minnesota Timberwolves? I'm Bill Carlson.
And I'm Mike Walsher. Please join us for these stories, Matt Balo's wet forecast, and Beverly Hills Cop 3 coming up next.
Kids always seem to need new clothes. What they don't outgrow, washing can wear out. That's why Target has quality clothes, great prices, and new Tide. Tide keeps clothes looking more like new.
A new garment looks old after 30 washings in a leading detergent. Now Tide cleans away fuzz, so clothes keep that new look longer.
So they can go from big sister to little sister and still look good.
With new improved Tide, clothes stay looking more like new.
Now that's a fashion statement that lasts.
Question your bladder control protection? The answer is a whole new technology from Attens, available at Snyder Drug.
What makes it so new?
From smaller pads and guards to larger undergarments and briefs, Attens has revolutionary perma-dry fibers woven in.
How can fibers protect me?
They pull moisture into the core faster, where it's turned into a gel and trapped inside. Attens absorbs faster to help stop spillover. New Attens at Snyder Drug. The answer to protection without question.
You know how good the air smells in the springtime? Well, it's the same here at the basement. Come smell the bargains. If you come to Filene's Basement's one-day sale, you won't have a problem sniffing out a great bargain. We're taking an extra 25% off an enormous selection in almost every department in the store. We've loaded the basement with the very best names and the best brands. It's the big one. It's the real one-day sale. Be there early Wednesday morning at 7:30. Don't miss it.
It's no accident why we bought the Buick LeSabre. Dual airbags, anti-lock brakes, child safety locks. And the price was safely within our budget.
There's a number of things that I really like about my new Buick Century. And I like this number, too.
That 260 horsepower V8 in my new Buick Roadmaster is a real whopper. Fortunately, the price wasn't.
This is your news. Or news at noon.
Jackie was too young to be a widow in 1963 and too young to die now.
That's Senator Edward Kennedy speaking this morning at the funeral of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. The funeral was held this morning in New York City.
It was held at the Park Avenue Roman Catholic Church in which she was christened. More than 700 people attended the private funeral, and hundreds more said goodbye from outside. CBS correspondent Nanette Hansen is covering the funeral.
Followed by those she loved, the casket carrying Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis left the apartment she made her home less than a year after President Kennedy's death. As the funeral procession began, mourners just a few blocks away arrived at St. Ignatius of Loyola Church. First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton, Lady Bird Johnson, Senator Ted Kennedy. They came to say farewell to a beloved family member and friend. Various family members participated in the funeral mass. John Kennedy remembered his mother's zest for life.
In choosing the readings for these services, we struggled to find ones that captured my mother's essence. And three things came to mind over and over again. They were her love of words, the bonds of home and family, and her spirit of adventure.
Prayers and poems were offered. Longtime companion of Mrs. Onassis, Maurice Templesman.
And now, the journey is over. Too short, alas, too short. It was filled with adventure and wisdom, laughter and love, gallantry and grace. So farewell, farewell.
Senator Ted Kennedy delivered the main eulogy.
She made a rare and noble contribution to the American spirit, but for us, most of all, she was a magnificent wife, a mother, a grandmother, a sister, aunt, and friend. She graced our history, and for those of us who knew and loved her, she graced our lives.
Now the next leg of this final journey begins as family members accompany the casket carrying Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis to Arlington National Cemetery for burial. Reporting live from New York, Nanette Hansen, CBS News. Back to you in the studio.
President Clinton will speak at the Onassis burial. He says he'll try to speak for America. CBS is planning to cover the burial, which starts at about 1 o'clock.
The Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office has not yet released the name of the 40-year-old man who was found dead yesterday in a St. Paul high-rise. Police were called to 1247 St. Anthony last evening. There they found the man's body on the floor. Police are treating the death as a possible homicide because they say there was trauma to the man's body. A rather unusual defense is being offered today in an alleged $1 million white-collar crime. At this hour, the lawyer for tax accountant Wayne Mackey is telling jurors his client is not guilty of embezzlement because of mental illness. The state says, to the contrary, Mackey knew what he was doing when he took the money from IDS Financial Services. That case is set to go to the jury sometime this afternoon.
2,000 gallons of spilled oil moving down the Mississippi River at this hour. It's near the St. Paul Park Cottage Grove area. The oil reportedly spilled early this morning when workers at Ashland Oil Refinery tried to transfer it out of a tank. Wet soil in northwestern Minnesota has caused several landslides. About a quarter-mile long section of riverbank has fallen into the Red Lake River east of Crookston. The chunk of earth is about 175 yards wide. It's dropped as much as 30 feet. The landslides are close to homes. One family had to spend the weekend in a motel since their home is the closest to the fallen land.
Former Minneapolis Mayor Don Fraser is joining the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Don Fraser will be a part-time consultant on children's and families' issues to the nation's housing authority. The former mayor of St. Paul, George Latimer, also works for HUD. He directs a special actions office.
If you're driving out to the Twin Cities International Airport this afternoon or in the next few weeks, be advised of some new construction that starts today. The roads to the upper and lower levels of the main terminal will be reduced to just one lane. If you're picking someone up at the airport or dropping someone off, you're advised to park in the ramps and walk inside to meet your traveler.
Former Los Angeles Laker player Magic Johnson says he's teaming up with 4 musicians to try to buy the Minnesota Timberwolves. Johnson says he's working with Prince, Janet Jackson, Jimmy Jam, and Terry Lewis. Johnson hinted that if things don't work out with the Minnesota team, he will consider buying a different team in the NBA.
Well, it has been a rather stormy morning. Meteorologist Matt Balo will have your forecast for the next few days in just a moment. And then after weather, Dimension examines why 2 young brothers may have committed suicide.
And also still ahead, behind the scenes of the second sequel to Beverly Hills Cop. Stay with us.
You're watching 4 News at noon.
Shouldn't have any more problems, but I'm confused, Harry. What is medical malpractice exactly?
Medical malpractice can happen when a person is injured by treatment received from a doctor or a hospital. It can lead to enormous medical costs, permanent disability, or even the death of a loved one.
So how can Sieben Gross and Von Holtum help when that happens?
We have lawyers and investigators who work only on medical malpractice cases.
If you've been injured, know your rights. Call Sieben Gross and Von Holtum.
There are some wounds that time doesn't heal.
For someone with diabetes or poor circulation, a simple wound can last for years and have a devastating impact on their life. Today, there's hope at the Wound Care Center. The Wound Care Center specializes in treating non-healing wounds using the latest technologies in advanced wound care. The Wound Care Center, hope for wounds that won't heal.
For more information, call the Health East Wound Care Center at 1-800-323-3103.
The American dream.
Owning a home.
What was your home buying experience like? 4 News wanted to find out, so we sent surveys to 10,000 new homeowners. The response?
Overwhelming.
The results?
Invaluable.
Don't go house hunting until you see home buyer do's and don'ts. Tonight at 10 on 4 News. Where does discipline end and child abuse begin? You'll be outraged when Tom Gasparoli takes you inside a case that some are calling a spanking. Tuesday at 10 on 4 News.
For Your Garden with Rebecca Coles is being sponsored by Bachman's, with 6 full-service garden centers filled with everything you need to create beautiful outdoors.
For over 100 years, the Bachman family has been doing what they do best. Enjoy the tropical beauty of hibiscus all summer long, grown to Bachman specifications to ensure large blooms and radiant color. On sale now for $24.99. To keep your hibiscus plants looking their best, we recommend Bachman's brand water-soluble fertilizer, just $5.99. Count on us for service, selection, and quality that's guaranteed. Bachman's, here for over 100 years, and you can see why.
Well, the radar looked pretty threatening much of the morning, and I think most of the heavy stuff slipped by the Twin Cities, although there was some rather thunderous weather in the area.
There was, and Matt Balo's going to update us on that now from the Weather Center. How's it looking, Matt?
It is looking a little bit better, actually. Some of this thunderstorm activity now is starting to diminish as it moves from west to east, but we did have some cloudy skies early this morning, and as these thunderstorms rolled on in, those skies darkened up pretty quickly. This is a replay here, a time-lapse replay from our Skyview camera. Again, skies were cloudy earlier this morning, and so it was already gray, but the skies darkened up in a hurry. We had the rain come in. We also had quite a bit in the way of lightning. This activity has been continuing for the last few hours, and those satellite pictures that show you those clouds blowing in from the Dakotas last night and then moving across Minnesota, that's where we've had all of our precipitation today, is mainly through central Minnesota. But as that precipitation has been moving from west to east, it's been starting to fall apart now. A live picture right now from our Doppler radar will show you that there's some scattered showers still going on through portions of the Twin Cities, but mainly the eastern half. This activity is all continuing to move from west to east, and as I mentioned, it is diminishing now. The heaviest showers stretch from about Zumbro Falls down to Rochester and then down to Albert Lea. That activity is all moving off to the east. We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings in effect at this time for southeastern Minnesota or for western Wisconsin. These thunderstorms did bring quite a bit in the way of lightning. Here's a replay from the lightning strikes this morning thanks to our Flash 4 lightning detection system. This is what we use to track lightning strikes as these storms moved across Minnesota and on into Wisconsin. We had quite a few lightning strikes through the Twin Cities, and a couple of these lightning strikes did some damage. In fact, they had a report of an office building that was in Edina. This office building was struck by lightning. There was some smoldering, but I understand that the rain actually put the fire out. There was also a Lutheran church on Stillwater Avenue in Maplewood that was struck by lightning as well. Not a lot of damage there either, but we have had some reports of damage as a result of the lightning. In the meantime, we have 63 degrees right now. After a low this morning of 58, there is a shower out at the National Weather Service. We have an east wind at 13. It's gusting to 22. The dew point way up there at 61. So it is very humid outside right now, and we have a steady barometer. Temperatures are in the 60s and even 70s back out to the west. As this storm system continues to move on to the east, we are looking for some redevelopment as this storm system continues to move on, and that means that we still have the risk for some severe weather, mainly across southern Minnesota and through western Wisconsin overnight tonight. Again, we'll have some redevelopment. Those storms will be moving in a little later on. So your forecast the rest of the afternoon tonight, for this afternoon, those thunderstorms diminishing, 78 degrees for a high temperature once we get a little bit of sunshine. Then a good chance of thunderstorms redeveloping tonight, 58 degrees for low, a south wind at 10 to 15. And then coming up tomorrow, a mainly dry day, 78 degrees for a high temperature. The rain that we have had, we pretty much have badly needed. Rebecca Coles is up on the roof right now, standing in the garden. Rebecca, do you need any more rain up there?
I think we've had our fair share of it up here, but I got to tell you, the warm weather we had this weekend certainly made things pop up here in the garden. Everything's looking fabulous. Certainly helps the lawns if you haven't been watering. And you know, you've probably heard a lot about thatch when we talk about lawn and lawn care. Too much thatch is not a good thing. Too little thatch, of course, is not a good thing either. You need a little bit, about a ½ inch, and you should be okay. This helps move the nutrients in through the grass, but if you get too much, it actually acts as a barrier. Bob Mugas, an Extension County agent, has more on this information.
One of the first things you can check for on your lawn in the spring is whether or not you have a thatch problem. Some thatch in the lawn isn't necessarily all bad. It's good for the resiliency of the turf, means you can play on it. One easy way to determine it is I have a soil probe here, which is real easy to use, and we'll just punch it into the ground, and this layer from here to here is what we call our thatch layer. It's not this dead grass blades and so on that we have up here. A lot of folks think that is thatch. This is really the thatch layer right here. Now we can use what's called a vertical mower, which slices through the thatch in a vertical sort of way and pulls some soil to the surface and removes physically some of it. It helps control our disease problems, and some of our insects like to harbor in there. So it's a good management practice for our lawns at any time. Now I have a soil probe. Most of you may have a little garden trowel. This will work just as well. Pull out a sample and you can look at that depth. Again, if it's 3/4 of an inch or more, I would say it's time to maybe do some removal.
And if you're still not sure whether you have thatch or not, take a sample, take it to your garden center, or go ahead and take it to one of your local county extension agents, and they'll certainly help diagnose whether you've got thatch.
All right, very good. Thank you, Rebecca.
You bet.
Stay dry out there. Well, here's some of the midday commodity prices from the Minneapolis Grain Exchange. July spring wheat is up 3.5 at $3.48 1/4. July Chicago soybeans are up 15 cents at $7.17 Cash price for soybeans is $7.08 1/2. July Chicago corn up 3.5 at $2.72 1/4, and the cash price for corn is $2.64 1/4. As of 11:30, Dow Jones Industrials down just over 30 points to 3735.65.
It's Clarence the Crusher. There's too much food in these Encore Salisbury steaks.
Tell him, Crusher.
How can I eat all these juicy, charbroiled steaks in rich, beefy gravy?
But Crusher, Encore is a 2-pound family-size entree.
I don't have a family.
I do. And we love Encore. We'll be over at 6 tonight.
Really? You will?
Al, about this Encore veal parmigiana.
5 tomorrow?
Oh.
For tasting more, it's Encore.
In 50 years, KFC has never changed the Colonel's chicken. Something that good isn't so easy to improve on, but we found a way. So we're changing it. Now our chicken breasts are a full third bigger than before.
Now try the same great taste of KFC original recipe or extra tasty crispy chicken with 33% larger breast pieces included in a 10-piece bucket for just $6.99. Same great taste, 33% larger breast pieces as part of a 10-piece bucket for just $6.99.
So come into KFC and we'll give you more of the taste you love.
Shop for furniture lately? Then you know exclusive showroom store pieces like these aren't cheap. This tapestry sofa, it could cost $1,300. Or does it? Actually, this one was less than half that because we created it around our customer's existing frame at Park Upholstery. Decorator prints? We're doing chairs like this for just $375. And this country living look, it's yours for just $249. At Park, we always have the style and quality you deserve. Sale price now, so call us today for a free home appointment. Call now.
Norwest presents the Burnett Senior Classic. Armed with only their clubs, these veterans are going to battle. For the children, for the glory, and for the check. Come see the first shots fired and witness firsthand the spoils of golf. The Battle of Bunker Hills. For tickets, call 612-783-8232.
Today in Dimension, what could have led to the deaths of 2 young brothers nearly a year ago in Wisconsin?
Well, you may have heard about this case last August actually. 2 brothers aged 10 and 13 on their way to school found shot to death. Authorities believe the boys killed themselves. And at the time, the only explanation from the family was that the boys didn't like school. Well, as with any of the growing number of child suicides, in this case, it is impossible to isolate one single cause. But Dimension has learned the brothers lived in a lonely and rather frightening world, a world their mother blames on religious beliefs. Trish Van Pilsum has the Dimension report.
The school bus comes down the dusty road and rumbles right past the house now. The kids the bus used to stop here for are dead, and their parents have moved away.
They were always into something, or it was hardly ever a quiet moment. Something going on all the time to just hardly anything going on. It's very hard to get used to.
This was my brother, Robert.
And he was how old there?
I think 13. And this was a picture of my brother, Ben.
With them.
I used to ride bike with them, and they always picked on me. But I do miss them.
But Robert and Benjamin Moore did not enjoy the carefree lives of other children. Certainly not of their classmates at this tiny school on West Schoolhouse Road. There was something scary, something lonely about their childhoods, something that made them slip from the house one morning, drive an old beater car down this quiet hiking trail, and kill themselves. Their father found them.
As I got closer, I could see him, laying on the ground. That's all I could see there was just the gun and the two boys.
At first, even investigators didn't want to believe the boys could have committed suicide, and yet all the physical evidence points to that. The question now, why?
Benjamin was happy all the time.
In the days just before his death, the younger brother drew a picture of himself smiling. His favorite song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. He wanted to be a logger when he grew up.
Robert didn't care for school.
Robert was nervous, prone to stress. His father points out he just didn't like school for some reason. He often threw up on his way to school on the bus.
And one time he said to me, I wished I could die. And I said, well, why? And he wouldn't answer me.
And so a few weeks ago, Roberta Moore walked the trail where it happened for the first time, looking for answers. What do you think was going on with the boys?
I don't know. From what I think probably they killed themselves to avoid getting killed at Armageddon.
And they learned about Armageddon where?
From the Watchtower.
The Watchtower Society, or the Church of the Jehovah's Witnesses. The boys had been attending it with their father. One of its central teachings, that God will someday destroy everyone but worthy members of the Watchtower Society, leaving those witnesses to live in paradise.
Well, other religions teach that when you die you go to a burning hell and things like this. So to us, looking forward to Armageddon coming isn't something to be afraid of.
All those people being killed, that's pretty scary.
Those people would include the boy's mother, who left the Watchtower Society 10 years ago.
God's so angry and he's going to kill everybody.
And that scared Benjamin. But beyond the fear, say some former church members, there is isolation. Witness children are supposed to follow certain rules. Those rules are outlined in this pamphlet. They're instructed not to salute the flag or take part in holidays or celebrations at school, even birthday parties. Many are told they can't associate with children who are not Jehovah's Witnesses. For the Moore boys, that meant no friends over after school and no extracurricular activities.
Because in the Bible, it says bad associations spoil useful habits.
Do you feel like they were isolated at all from other kids?
I think so.
What makes you think that?
Well, because being that religion, you have to be different. And that automatically isolates you.
Only after the boys had died did their mother find what she believes are clues, indications the boys had planned ahead. Okay, so this is what they were taught was going to happen.
Yeah, blood up to the horses' necks. This is Armageddon. Jehovah guarantees it.
There were notations in their Bible study books.
This is the Watchtower. Delay can be deadly. And here's a map of the trail. This Watchtower is March 1st, 1993. Here's where Route 13, and here's where Spring Road goes up, and here's where the trail goes in. And there it says end.
But the boy's father, thinks the boys were simply troubled by something at school.
I don't think that was a religious issue, really.
No, no.
Neither do officials at the Kingdom Hall the boys attended.
In all my 50 years or so with the witnesses, I haven't heard one child mention that they were frightened about the conditions that will come. Actually, it's something that they, in a sense, are looking forward to.
The boys' funerals were held at the Kingdom Hall over their mother's objection. She says during the entire service, not a word was spoken about the boys themselves. And worse, she says, members treated her as though the deaths were her fault because she had broken away from the church. We'll never know for sure what happened on this trail that morning, whether it was something at school, at home, or their church that bothered the boys so much. But their mom is desperately worried that whatever it was might affect their sister as well.
Yeah, she is sweet, but I don't know what I'd do without her.
Lisa's dad takes her to the Kingdom Hall now. She says she doesn't like it. In the past week, she's stayed home from school twice, complaining of stomach aches. Her parents say she can choose what to believe. Her mom hopes she's strong enough to do that. For Dimension, I'm Trish Van Pilsum.
Experts say that when there is religious disagreement between parents in the home, it can cause stress. They say it's important for school officials to work closely with students and parents if stress is interfering with adjustment to school. We tried to talk with the head of the Jehovah's Witnesses Society here in the Twin Cities about this case. He declined. As for the police investigation, authorities are expected to release their final report on the shooting in the next week.
Victoria's Secret creates second skin satin, the revolutionary fabric that sculpts your every curve with sensuality. Second Skin Satin, an exclusive bra and panty collection. Second Skin Satin, only at Victoria's Secret. Now get a free bra or panty with your purchase from the Second Skin Satin collection.
I've worn dentures for a number of years, and the boys had trouble with the lower dentures. I've tried adhesives and liners, but nothing really seemed to work.
Now there is another answer to tooth loss: dental implants.
My friends and family can tell the difference between my teeth and the implants, and they feel wonderful.
Believe me, any alternative to dentures is an alternative you want to take a look at if comfort and convenience is important to you.
For a dentist specially trained in dental implants, please call this number.
Here's great news from your Oldsmobile retailer. Oldsmobile has lowered the price of a Cutlass Sierra to just $14,195. You save over $2,000 or choose lower payments. Right now you can lease a brand new Cutlass Sierra for just $149 a month for only 24 months. It's your choice. Buy a new Sierra and save thousands all at once, or lease your new Sierra for just $149 and save hundreds every month. But act now. This offer is good only through Memorial Day and only at your Greater Minneapolis-St. Paul Oldsmobile retailer.
Until my allergist told me. I never knew what a histamine blocker was.
When allergens attack, Benadryl blocks the histamine in your body from triggering reactions like sneezing. The powerful protection of Benadryl, the histamine blocker from Park Davis.
Did you know almost everyone is allergic to bug bites? That's why they itch. So you should know Benadryl Cream. It actually blocks the histamine that makes you itch. Hydrocortisones can't. Benadryl, the histamine blocker for itch relief.
That I will lose for at least an hour.
Sounds good to me.
You did say you were going to lose for an hour.
I am a man of my word.
It was the biggest opening weekend of the summer for Maverick, the new film based on the old television series, which pulled in nearly $18 million. Next up, starting Wednesday, is the second sequel to one of the most successful comedies of all time, Beverly Hills Cop.
Behind the scenes with Beverly Hills Cop 3. Hey, Mark Only. Here we go again.
This one is directed by action veteran John Landis.
My initial reaction was, I don't want to do a sequel. Get the hell out of here. You know, I mean, I've never done a sequel to one of my movies. But I thought about it, and I looked at Cop 1 and 2, especially 1, and, you know, I like Axel Foley, and I realized I'm not going to make a sequel. What I'm going to do is make the next Axel Foley adventure. You know, I don't want to say this because it'll lessen the thrill, but the truth is that in this picture, it's so rigged and things are so choreographed and prepared, there really is very little element of danger. But you want people to think there is. I enjoy the process. I think that people who work in the movies are pretty privileged. And I don't have much time for all the, angst of, oh my God, because it's not brain surgery, it's entertainment.
We'll talk to Eddie Murphy later on this week. About 10 seconds for that weather story.
We have showers diminishing. Another chance for thunderstorms coming up, though, later this evening and into tonight.
Okay.
All right, keep the umbrella handy, I guess. Well, thanks for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're too busy for the discomfort of your period. Cramps, bloating, headache, water gain. You're not yourself. Advil and Tylenol only relieve pain. Do it right. Take multi-symptom Pamprin. Get yourself back together again. Multi-symptom Pamprin. Period relief, not just pain relief.
At your age, my wife says. Never. Then the pain hits. Time out for Icy Hot.
Get fast relief from Icy Hot. Icy to dull the pain and hot to relax it away. Get Icy and Hot therapy for pain.
Hey, you're only as young as you feel.
There's a way to find a brand new season, rain or snow or shine. It's the season you've been looking for because it's summer all the time. And someone near you knows the way, they'll be glad to show. Someone near you knows the one and only patio enclosures.
Put Velveeta in, leave the lookalikes out. Mix the salsa in, pop it in and pull it out.
Use some lookalike, who knows what may come out.
With Velveeta, there's no doubt. Velveeta!
Velveeta cooks better.
It's no accident why we bought the Buick LeSabre. Dual airbags, anti-lock brakes, child safety locks. And the price was safely within our budget.
Take a gander, have a peek. Come to Southdale, find what you seek. Nothing to it, you just gotta do it. Easy come, easy go. Simple shopping, easy as pie. Piece of cake, you'll find yours, I'll find mine. Just had to tell you, now you know.
Southdale, simple, convenient, timeless.
Easy come, easy go.